Come along with Charles and me. Come along on Guitar Safari. Grab yourself a cup of hot coffee and come with Charles and me. Hold on, there's one more verse. I wrote it and I'm forgetting. Oh, you could watch on your computer, watch on your phone, either way. One volume, one tone.
Love
Yeah,
it.
man.
Love it. It is going to be the next number one hit single. I'm telling you.
I'm expecting knocks at the door at any moment that are saying, hey, man, we need to get that. We need to record it because this is some new stuff.
This is awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, welcome everybody to Guitar Safari. I apologize for taking the week off last time, but I had my older brother in town and there was like stuff that had to be done. So, Seth, I appreciate you being gracious enough to let us take the week off so that we could take care of some things here.
It's all good. I mean, I had stuff to do with the move going on with me, so I've got tons of stuff that can get. But I hate missing it, but you know, your brother's in town, so that's killer.
It was great. I was gonna bring him on the show, and then I was just like, well, there's other things there was a lot going on. You know what I mean?
Totally.
All right. So in our chat, we had Herb of Fireside Studios as our first guest in and doing a whole lot of talking with himself and his friends up here until I came in.
And then we've got many friends.
So many. And then we've got Cushman NYC. And I see that Wayne McConnell had come in and Ben Coombs has joined us in Ferd Burful. And so we are off to a good start this morning. Thank you everybody for joining us for Guitar Safari. And today we're talking about, you know, what are your guitar goals and your dreams and your aspirations? And on the flip side of that, you know, what are your practice habits and what are you doing to get there? And more importantly and more fun, Seth, is what are your excuses for not doing it?
Why? Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, why am I not really, really good at guitar? Right? So people ask me all the freaking time, hey man, when did you start playing guitar? And I really want to lie, but I say like, oh, you know, I've been playing guitar like 35 years, you know, and I can play and I would consider myself, you know, intermediate to advanced, but I'm not. I think any guitarist, right? Tim Pierce would even say, I got a lot to learn. And he's like a guitar god. But, anyway.
And I think, and that's the whole thing about it too. It's like you're always working on something. You know, Eddie Van Halen until his last days was still working on stuff. You know, it's you know, be the best that you can be and keep working at it.
You're still trying to tune the Floyd.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
All right, so you know, if you've got some guitar goals and aspirations, some dreams that lay behind your guitar journey, go ahead and put them into the chat. I think we'll start there with what our guitar dreams and goals and aspirations are, Seth, and then we'll work into those practice habits and excuses for not doing that a little bit later, maybe.
Well, you're a little bit more on the front end of the journey, right? So, you know, what are your where's your trajectory? Like, as if we ever say we're satisfied, but where are you trying to go?
My trajectory is really of I wanted to be able to pick up a guitar and play a tune or two, you know, a tune or two, right? You know, just something that, you know, learn some of the songs that I've really enjoyed and be able to play them confidently, right? And so they didn't, you know, not that I have to be perfect, but just for me, my, you know, my family, my friends around me, wherever the case may be. In the back of my mind, there's the little garage band thing going on, right? But it's, you know, but as long as I keep moving forward in a journey of where my skills are increasing, I'm happy with that.
Totally. Three chords in the truth.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, but then you have to have the truth, which is hard. That's a big component, right? Because I mean, writing a song, which is kind of why I wanted to play. I grew up instantly wanting to play guitar because my dad played guitar. Both of my dads were awesome. Dads from a divorced, both married to separate wives, not dads together, which in my area is totally like a thing too, which is cool. But I mean, that would be hilarious, by the way. But both my dads played guitar, so I was like, oh, I want to play guitar. But more so than just play guitar, what I wanted to do, I heard them singing songs like the Tennessee Stud and singing songs like, I don't know, old folk songs. And I was like, oh, that's a cool message in the song. They're saying something cool. I want to say something cool. I know you guys know that watch the show. I never want to shut up. So, I wanted to write songs. And so there I go. I never thought I'd break out of the I was mainly a chord guy and acoustic guy for many, many, many years until I had electrics as a kid, but when my stepdad passed is when I got big time into electrics and was like, I'm doing it.
Well, one of my favorite things is when you pick up your guitar and you're just kind of messing around and you're strumming and you hit a chord that you've heard from a song, right?
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, what's the next chord after that? And and you sit there, you work through it, and all of a sudden you have a riff out of the song, and you just figured it out, right?
Oh, totally.
For me, that's huge, because I'm figuring out, I'm playing something I want to play, and then you start playing around with those chords and arranging them in different ways that you want, and then you come up with something that's yours.
Mm-hmm. Rick Beato is amazing to watch to do that. He because there's only so many patterns and so many progressions that are in mainstream music, and he can really identify from the first couple of notes where it's going to go.
Mm-hmm.
Did it go from a note, did it descend? And then you have this where it's probably going to go. Did it ascend? Where is it going? And some people can just, I can learn a song, typically the main riff or the key or where I need to be by the end of the song if I'm listening to it once. That's why I love having Alexa, because I'll say, Alexa, play whatever song that my wife really loves or someone really loves, and I'll pick it up.
Alexa
quick.
off. You turned on my Alexa. All right, so with that, let me go ahead and let me welcome some more folks in the chat. Since we talked last, we've got Octopus Ears has joined us. Hip Metal Works has joined us. Let's see. I know there was somebody else that Graphite and Guitars has joined us, and Jimmy Ray Hawkins. So we are starting to fill up here. So this is great.
I think we have a capacity. It's like 75% capacity.
And we have both Martin and Lucas of L&M Guitar Corner have both joined us. So both the Austrians in the house at the same time. Welcome, gents.
That's amazing. Wait, in Austria? As in Austria?
In Austria, yes.
That's fantastic. Oh, dude, please, if you come to the Bay Area, hit me up. Because that is so cool. Because for the sole reason that when I ever come to Austria, I want someone to hit up. Like, what's up, dude? They don't have burritos over there, do they?
I don't know, but those are two of the coolest guys. I met them kind of early on, and we also were involved in a Skype chat group back and forth that I have not been spending enough time in lately, and have been really missing it. And so, they've been really big supporters of my channel, so I really appreciate them. They're awesome guys.
That's cool. Well, I'm gonna get over there at some point because being a hang glider pilot, when I get back into flying, that's a spot. That's like you got to go there, and I hadn't flown there yet. So,
did you know that Janice Lala has joined the chat? Good morning, Janice. Welcome.
Good morning. So, my dreams and aspirations, Charles, I've obviously achieved them because, I totally wrote a song and I made it all the way and put it out onto Apple iTunes. One song. And it's kind of a terrible song. It's like just a rock song. I would equate it to Maroon 5-ish, something, it's just a rock song. Out of all the songs that I had that somebody was willing to produce and do all the work, they chose that one. And so it's called I Need You Now.
I tell you, I love that song. And I've said it before on the show. I put on your video sometimes, just so I can hear it in the intro.
Well, you can listen to the song if you go to YouTube. There's just a version. Whenever they published it, they send out it's its own page, I guess. That it's just the YouTube song. My buddy actually texted me last night. Oh, I can't wait. A couple more weeks, I'll be able to show you stuff on my phone because I'll be in my other shop. But he texted me last night. Hey, dude, check it out. So from last month, 5 monthly followers on Spotify. And I was
nice.
Like, yeah. So, but he had 3. So as long as I win, that's all that truly.
That's all that matters.
When the bear's chasing you, you don't have to be the fastest. You just need to be faster than the guy who got 3.
Okay, so we're starting to get some guitar goals and aspirations here in the chat, and so Octopus Ears has added in his dream is to be a decent guitar player, but his other dream, and he actually is a very talented player. If you've ever followed his channel at all, his other dream is to go ahead and to record an album. He actually wants to record an album. And
I say, Octopus, dude, like we are our biggest critics. If you were to just go in front of an assembly of people that are the general human beings and play a very cleanly strummed G chord on a tuned guitar, most people will be like, oh, wow, that person can play. Right? Well, you can, because you can play better than most of the world, and then you just take it up the next level. Your A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Then you get your minors in there, get a couple scales in there. Oh, I'd ask you, and ask the general chat: do people practice scales?
Early on I did, and I stopped because I began working on. I wanted to get myself motivated, so I began working on specific songs and lessons, and of different things like that. But I haven't learned my scales, and that is probably a big downfall for me.
You only need 5, and well, actually, you need as many as you look towards a better guitar teacher than me. But there's a few people. You only need a certain amount for you to find your zone, because we all have our what we do, right? Mm-hmm. If your intention is to be a shredder and do all that stuff, don't do that, because we don't like it. There's enough people that have done that, and all the blibbity blah, plickety flams. Just I want to feel what someone has in here, so I don't do it anyway. Yeah, I'm not.
That's okay. I'm going to go back to the chat for a minute, because there's something in here for you that you're going to want to hear. Hip Metalworks said he almost bought a Regalo ring glider in his teens. He was so close, and he kind of wishes he had. And that was rapidly followed up by Graphite and Guitars, who says, I have a fear of heights, and I could never hang glide. So, both sides.
Regalo wing, amazing. That's anybody who hasn't flown should fly.
Yeah. Well, here's the interesting thing about it. I have a severe fear of heights, and I went up in a Cessna with a buddy of mine. We're about 20 minutes into flight, and I am watching the RPMs on this motor like you wouldn't believe. But like, as long as it goes there, I know. As long as it stays there, I know we're good, right? And so all of a sudden, he says, "Okay, put your hands on the wheel." He lets go, and he says, "You fly the plane."
Yeah. Yeah, and if you're 5,000 feet up, there's no problems, dude.
Yeah, there is something about it when you're up there and you're engaged in it. That fear of heights just kind of goes away.
Yeah, you start looking at the key is to look at the horizon, because the horizon is where you're going to end up. But you're not going to fall if you're in a glider, unless you're going to pull in and try to fly straight down. You're going to end up at the horizon, and that will change along your glide path, but. I'm also afraid of heights. I'm afraid of the most. I know we're off of guitar anyway, but in hang gliding, the thing that terrified me the most was driving up the mountainside roads to get to the top to where you launch off, with usually not always a stranger, but not always the most qualified person behind the wheel, at least, to have my life. And then you're 10 dudes and they're all stinky. And like, anyway, so that was I would like listen to my earbuds and close my eyes and like pray, like, oh my God, so launching off the top seemed like it was no problem.
Well, so some more things in the chat. Cushman NYC, his dreams and goals are to play live, and he's almost there.
Yes.
He says. And Ferd Burfel has seen your tune, and he saw it, and he said it was a good tune. So, just so you know.
No guitar solo in that one, which is funny. There's like no guitar. It's like, anyway, go ahead.
No, and Graphite and Guitars, he says his dream is to completely master the fretboard, and that is what all the practice has revolved around for several months now.
That's awesome. So you know what I'm going to do? Because everybody who knows, who watches here regularly, knows I'm cheap and knows that I don't spend a lot of money. So when I have my first vacation that I've had in years, it's going to be actually, because I'm now teaching, I'm going to have some weeks off, right? A bunch of weeks. I'm going to enroll in the Tim Pierce it's the 2-week trial that you get for free, because I haven't done it, because I was like, I got to save that for when I can really dedicate my 2 weeks. And I'm really, really working, and I'm going to put it on my calendar, an hour a day, a Tim Pierce class. And then I was going to do a couple YouTube videos on it to see how, because I'm coming in at an intermediate level, but Tim God. And so see how far I go, and then send him the video and be like, dude, I reckon, and hopefully I would want to stay on. But again, I'm the cheapest person so to whatever it costs, I don't know how much it costs. Do you know how much Tim's things costs?
No, I haven't looked into it, because I know it's so far beyond my ability at this point. It's one of those things. But I do understand it's a pretty good program, though, from what I've heard.
Yes. Well, just the stuff that I've seen on YouTube when he describes it and goes through, if it's anything like that, I'm in, because there's some, like, I get it, Charles, because there's some where you get in there and they're like, well, you got to be in the key of A. In the key of A, you use the root note and then bend the seventh note. And so instantly, like, unless you've done a lot, you're like, whoa, come on, man, slow it down.
Yeah.
That's why Marty's music is so popular.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, and he'll give you he'll even sometimes give you the alternate fingering for the chord.
Dude, right? You just gotta play freaking Baby Shark.
Yeah.
On your ukulele, and you're gonna blow up.
That's true.
Hey, so don't take my idea.
I've got to get this one in. Janice Lala says she just wants to have credibility in her local area, just like the credibility she has here with all of us great people. And so, Janice does a lot of live playing. She goes out to open mics and, that kind of thing. And so she's having fun with it.
Janice, you have your credibility by being out there and by being up on stage. I'm imagining you've probably memorized most of these tunes. And even if you're screwing them up, you're doing so much better than, again, the people that think a G chord is amazing, right? So you're giving a gift to people out there. Don't let people criticize you, because people that are doing that are reaching out from their fear of whatever they haven't achieved and saying, with their that's not a thing. You're killing it.
Yeah, you're out there. My thing is, if you're out there and you're doing it and you're in front of people and you're putting yourself out there like that, that's something, because most people will never even try that, right? Graphite and Guitars says that he's just practicing. Graphite and Guitar says he's practicing skills. He says it's useless unless you learn the theory behind it, right? So why do the scales that way? How does it work? How can you use it in your playing? So, adding that dimension to it is important. And Cushman NYC says he practices that pentatonic scale.
Yep.
And our buddy Ferd Burfel
says blues, major, minor.
Mm-hmm.
And then choose a mode that you like, and then just learn, and that'll teach you about connecting your pentatonic, major, minor, and blues. And once you get that, or you could go and you could learn the caged system, which is a way of doing that exact same thing and mastering the fretboard. But I haven't gone that direction.
Mm-hmm. And it's all those things. It's so much out there, and you know the value of being able to sit down with someone and having them teach you, someone that knows what they're doing and going through it. And I think that's really where my next step is. I want to sit down and take lessons with a real person, because I've gone pretty well, with what I found on YouTube and by using Fender Play. But it's that discipline of having to play it in front of another person. There are no excuses when you've got a scheduled lesson, right?
Yeah, accountability.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you reporting to someone. That's what I did when I decided that vocally that I could sing some, but there were some things that I didn't understand, and why can that person hit these notes that like they seem unattainable to me, but then again we sound very similar. So I went in and I learned from a reel, and I had accountability, and I showed up and I practiced, and she taught me the tricks of where to start and where you can get and what your range is and all that. So yeah, doing the lessons in your local area. Go to school and rock.
Well, it was like when my son was in elementary school, he picked up violin, and he's like, "Okay, Dad, I'll do it, but I want you to do it with me." So we both took violin lessons, and it was amazing to me how much I picked up so quickly, and how far you're able to progress when you are taking a regular lesson, because you have to get that practice in, because you don't want to stand in front of somebody for a half an hour and go, I don't know how to do that. Right. You sit there and do that. Going back to our chat real quick, Ferd Burfel says he hardly plays anymore because the arthritis is in his hands, but he's hoping a new medication is going to help him out, and we wish him the best on that. Ferd, sometimes you just play through the pain too. I feel you. I've got arthritis in both my knees, and I get that, but we certainly hope you get a chance to keep picking those guitars up.
So can I give my arthritis what I would actually do, because I've suffered. I've got
a
drummer, and I've broken all my fingers a number of times, and at different points in my guitar playing career, there has been times where my wrists and my hands hurt immensely, and it was like flare-ups. There can be things that you don't even think about that are causing arthritis in your hands and in your body, that are your diet, right? We don't even take that into consideration, but it can fuck your hands up. So you might need, and it seems like a super California thing to say or whatever, but it's the honest to God truth, and your hands might not hurt as much. There's a couple of things you could pull out that might be causing inflammation in your body in general. And that's what I had to do. And I hated to do it. I love bread and pizza and toast and all those things. And for me, if I do that, I suffer from a lot. If I eat a lot of gluten, and anyway, I suffer from worse inflammation.
Right. And I think that's also that thing. Look for what your triggers. I know, because, there are different triggers for my arthritis in my knees, and sometimes it's inactivity. Other times it is the change in the weather. But sometimes you're right. Sometimes it's a diet. And so, when you have those flare-ups, look at those things that maybe you've been eating in, because there are some things that do interfere with that.
That's just for me, and I'm just reaching out to try, if there's, because when it takes your love away, like your guitar, that is so depressing when you hurt your finger or whatever and you can't play. It's, for a guitar player, we have to be cognizant of that, because it can put us into an actual depression, because you're pulling away something that is our, it's our soul, right? It's why a part of why we get up every day and do what we do is because we're connected to the love of an instrument.
Yep. And Jimmy Ray Hawkins was talking about that Tim Pierce masterclass you were talking about. He says it's awesome. He's thought about it as well, and he also mentions the Rick Beato course stuff that's out there as well. And so, a couple places for people to go. Graphite and Guitar says that he's been teaching himself theory for the last 6 months, and it's not as hard as it looks. You just need to dedicate the practice time to it.
Exactly. To the last comment, a couple back about the Rick Beato deal, I have felt like Rick is just a tick over my head when he'll get going. he starts at the beginning, the first 10 minutes of his whiteboard thing.
Mhm.
I'm with you, bro. I'm there. It's freaking awesome, and I love it. But oh, you know, it just goes to another level pretty quickly. And then if I slow it down, I can keep up. But then I feel like, you know, I don't know, but I do enjoy his chats and I do watch them. And even if I only take away what I take away through osmosis and the stuff that's beyond what I actually know is just something that I heard, that's still better than not learning anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
And I'm going to take a quick minute here, Seth. Welcome a couple more people. We got Vox Guitar Rocks and Paul McNary and all the cats have joined us as well. And
I was playing my Vox setting on my
Rico B has come in the door as well. I'm sorry to cut you off, but
no, ever coming off all the time because you're gonna have
these are our friends coming to us from out of the Addicted to Gear live stream, right? Rico B has joined as well, so welcome, Jen.
We got all the people in the house.
Yeah, John ZD351 as well.
Nice.
I'm just kind of looking, yeah. And so, you know, 3 or 4 folks just joined us here. So,
yeah,
that.
Dude, I wonder if Rico's getting the heat on the West Coast where I am. Especially, it's very odd for San Francisco to get really hot. I'm just north of San Francisco. And yesterday, and we don't have air conditioning. We're not like everybody in Texas has air conditioner, right? Unless you're like super poor and then you're like hating it. So we don't have typically air conditioning because it usually doesn't get over 80, 85. Well, it was like 97 yesterday. And we were the duplex that we're renting is on the 2nd floor. And so there's a basement. I was like, want to hang out in the basement, dude. It was brutal.
Mm-hmm.
But the evening cooled off at least, and today should be kind of beautiful.
Yeah. I grew up in Connecticut where we didn't necessarily need air conditioning in the summer, but everybody had, you know, but you would get a window unit, right?
Yeah,
but we didn't typically run them. We would run the fans, we'd run all the windows open, and then when it was unbearable, then you kick in the window unit, right? And so when I moved to Texas, I was just like, no. It was an adjustment for me, right?
Yeah.
And especially since because when I came to Texas, I had just come from Germany. So, you know, it doesn't get that hot there, you know, not at least not where I was anyway. And we've had our AC go out a couple times here, and it is unbearable when it does.
Your AC's died during like a heat wave?
Oh yeah. Last when I went back, when my father passed away, the day that I found out, my air conditioner died, and so I had I had enough time to call tech out to look at it, and they're like, "Oh, you need to replace your whole system." All I really needed was the fan outside in the condenser unit replaced, but they're like, "Oh, we can't get that," and so, but I can, and so so we went back for the funeral, and so we had to kind of suffer for 3 days before we left, right, in brutal heat. And we went back, and I was like, you know, I really should get a whole new unit, but I don't really have the money right now.
Yeah.
To get that. And I was like, I ordered the fan online while I was in Connecticut. It arrived here the day after I got back. I installed it in 20 minutes. I had AC again. It's like, but to give you an idea, this past week, it's been triple digits every day. We had 4 days of 105.
Oh, that's like hell.
And that's not even counting the heat index, right?
Yeah, no, because then you get, dude, if you try to get into your car when it's 105 outside, again, it's been beating through your window. It's like, it's just off. Or whatever you do, don't take your freaking guitar anywhere. Don't put that shit in your trunk. Keep it inside the car in the air conditioning if you take your guitar somewhere. God forbid you have an acoustic and you're trying to transport that. But think of the acoustics that are underneath in a tour bus driving through, and they're, you know, shaking, and it's 150 degrees. That's why some people they demand to take their number one on the bus.
Yeah, definitely. And so let's see. Let's go back to our viewers here because I kind of got carried away on that. But yeah, the heat can be unbearable. Take care of your acoustics, people. Take care of your acoustics.
Stay hydrated, and not just your guitar.
Yeah. So Janice is in the chat. She's talking about she likes to use song sheets, and so that is another way to go. And so she says she has several songs she wouldn't be able to do on that she wouldn't be able to follow on the fly without them, right? So I think that's where that was going.
Oh yeah.
Now Ben Combs is in the chat, and he has something interesting to say, Seth. He says, "I have no dreams or goals. I think I've done everything I wanted with music."
Yeah, I completely feel you. It's almost like, but we need to have dreams and goals, and we need to maybe search within to tap the reset, because I know that the inspiration is still within. Because I get it. Like, so when you hear someone like Ben who plays and they have such a killer tone and they've got their style, they figured it out. They're at where they're at. I mean, he's kind of like I was saying, like, I'm not trying to play all, you learn, and at a certain point in life, you kind of like, this is my zone. This is what I do. And you have the confidence. But maybe Ben needs to just start, you know what you could do, Ben? And maybe I should do this too, because I'm going to make a suggestion that I should probably take myself. There's these songwriting communities, or maybe we could make a riff writing community where we say to each other, once a month, we're going to get together on a Zoom and we're going to show what we've created in the last month. And we try to have 3 different riffs or a song, or, something that you set a group, you make an accountability, and you push yourself. And that might be something that would help with his drive, because I feel you, dude. I feel you. Yeah. Or, yeah, I get it.
Well, and he's done the whole thing, right? He's been in several groups. He's played live. He's done,
now
he's just in that phase of, I think now he's in that phase of, he just wants, he wants to just be able to enjoy it when he picks up one, right? And be able to appreciate the guitar for what it is. I love what Graphite and Guitar says in the chat here. He says, the takeaway that players in the community need to understand is that we're all at different levels of learning. If we don't support each other's art, then there's no joy in the music. And I think that says it very, very, very well.
Perfectly said. And to Ben's point there, as far as as you get older, you kind of become a wizard, almost building off of what the person just said, is that maybe you're playing less, maybe you're less inspired, but people reach out to Ben. People reach out with questions, and people look up to him. So you and he does kind of have a little bit of the wizard thing going on, right? You got this, he could do that for Halloween and not spend a ton on the costume, is what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, definitely. Ben spends, he shares that wisdom. And I can't tell you how many times that I've done a video and he'll come back and he'll send me he'll text me and he'll say, look, you've been working on your right hand, or you see you've been working on your left hand. And it's like, it's like, I never even thought about that when I did the video. And he's like, but it's like, okay, yeah, I have been working on stuff and it shows, but someone said something, right? And so that's been huge to me. And he's shown me, we've been on Zoom calls where he's shown me a couple things to do and a couple things to work on. Yeah. And so getting that good positive kind of feedback and critique of what you're doing and what you can do better. He's
the kind of guy that when he just walks past your amp, the mid's scooped. You know what I mean? Like he's whoa, what happened? You know what I mean? Wow, why is it dialed back with the bass on 3 and so yeah, that would happen. I could totally see it. And Ben, you're totally welcome to my Fenders. Please don't touch my Mesa. It's just a pain in the ass to reset. And I got it where I love it. My Nomad has so many switches and ins and outs. It's crazy, but it does everything. But you don't want to go messing with the tone once you have it.
And Vox Guitar Rock says, I never understood the meaning of playing inside and outside the box until he worked on scales, and then the lights came on. And it's like all those little things. It's that you sit there And as you get into them and you learn them and you see, and it opens up things to you. And Rico, yes, it is a blue shirt day. You didn't get the memo. My apologies.
Oh, wait, hold on. Don't have me go double down on it with my other blue shirt. So like I said, it's super hot here. And with my skin, I have to like this is a very thin material, especially designed for the desert, for Texas, for visiting Charles. So I wear this to keep the sun off of me, even though I'm inside. But anyway, it's very light material. But the box is also an amazing surf spot in Australia. So just those notes that are in a box, right? And then this is what I was trying to talk about on Tony's channel, and I didn't want to be like the fat philosopher dude and be like, I didn't see my comment. I said it like 4 times. Anyway, this is my, which, hey, I'm down with fat. He's cool, but whatever.
He is a great guy.
This is the Squire I bought for $25. $25. It was and actually, here's the thing: the woman listed it for $25 because she was just moving. And she was rich. She was up on a hill near a golf course near my house. And I pulled up in the Geo, and now my Geo has a clutch rattle that's very, you can distinct it. You can hear it from inside the house. So she was probably going to give me a deal on it anyway. But I just gave her $25 for it because it came with a freaking Fender gig bag. And so what I did instantly is I put $350 worth of pickups in it.
Of course.
More Duncan Blade bridge, and I got these are really nice high-end Bartolini.
Because that's what you do with a Mini.
And 1 volume, 1 tone. You know, the switch, I was going to switch it out to an American switch, but I'm going to do that later. I'm going to put a bone nut on it and braid the tuners. Yeah. So it'll be like a little, oh, and I rolled the fretboard edges and did all the fret ends so that they were nice, and so now it feels very custom shoppy. Yeah.
Well, you know, those minis are pretty cool. I always thought they'd be great travel guitars, right? You know,
with these pickups, it sounds amazing.
Oh, we get to hear some. All right, let's go.
Well, I was just going to go over to the rectifier setting because it's just kind of kicks ass with the high gain. So you can see it's actually the guitar. I was playing it drop D yesterday and like trying to shred, like doing like all this stuff, and my wife, when I put it down, I was like, hey, that little guitar sounds good. She's like, that was the little guitar? Yeah, it actually is really fun to play now, and it's pretty it's intonated right. I put these good I had these, they were Squire, not Fender, so I was like, that matches, that's cool. These bent saddles that were way better.
I do like
those shitty block saddles that just
yeah, bent saddles are a way to go.
Yeah.
Well, a couple things more in the chat here. Graphite Guitars was asking me what I wanted to learn, and really now I really want to venture off the cowboy chords. Right. And so that's where I need to start working on my scales. I know that is something that I need to do. And Ben is chiming in and says he's offered to give me lessons, but I was smart enough to turn him down. And it's not that I've turned him down. It's just I'm looking for the time. I'm trying to find the time. I value that very much. And so we've got some other things going on there.
Getting lessons from Ben would be kind of epic.
It definitely would be, and and I've had a couple mini little things here and there, but full blown lessons would be really cool.
I think Ben should start selling like agate crystals, like he could be because he got the wizard look, and he's kind of the tone wizard. What? Oh, look out! And he can just sell crystals. Now you put it on top of your amp, and you sound 10% better.
Yeah, and so apparently Graphite and Cigars and Trev or Symmetry are doing some online lessons together, and he's working on that with them. And so Graphite and Guitars and Ben are kind of talking about that back and forth, and so they're doing it through Zoom, right? Because they're miles apart. And that was kind of what I was intending to do with Ben as well. And so we're gonna get there. I just need to find some. I need to
There
open up.
is a guy on YouTube, Desi Cerna. Desi Cerna. He's another guy that some of his stuff might go over your head because he gets into theory and stuff, but the basic stuff that he has is really good. And he, that's another course that I might sign up for the freebie and see how it is when I got a little bit of time off.
Definitely. I'm just looking at the chat to see what we haven't gotten. Oh, okay. Well, Lucas has had to leave us, and he's going to catch the rest on replay. We appreciate that.
It's actually funnier on replay, like 15% funnier. That's what I've been told, is that people that watch it live are just missing out because it's way funnier on the replay.
And Tony is in the chat from Addicted to Gear. He says, what's up, boys? Listening while I have lunch. Tony, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate that.
Tony, like the king of gear in the morning. I'm so thankful, dude, for hanging out watching your show. Check this out, Tony. Burgundy Mist, Bartolini, Double Humbucker. And I thought that you might hate it, right? That's cool if you hate it, but I did the custom pit guard myself.
No, I tell you that the pit guard's been growing on me.
And this was the first one I did. I did a couple cents and then I've got a little bit better. And I am going to get a scroll saw at some point. But I can't just be spending $100 here, $100 there, $70 to go out to dinner. Everything you do is $100. You wake up in the morning, $200 to wake up.
I tell you, I had to buy some new tools. Actually, I had to buy some new tools for the fabric topping. I've got a really good pair of scissors already, but I picked these up because I wanted to try them out. And this is a fabric cutter, right? So you get a nice crisp line on some of those cuts that I've got to make that job easier.
Hell yes.
And so yeah, it's people. When you do this stuff, every tool costs something. It's whether you're buying a new blade for something, it's always there. Ryan OU812, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate you. Yeah, Guitar Man 45 is in the house. Thank you.
This is actually his guitar, but he hasn't paid for it yet. No, I'm just kidding. But I hear he has a lot of awesome guitars.
He does. He's got a lot of really nice gear. And
I mean, a Presley's a Presley. That's all it is. But it's pretty sweet. Oh, this one I will actually give the business card with the sale of this.
Wait. I buy the guitar and I get the business card on top of it?
No additional charge. Oh, wait. Oh. No additional charge. You win a bagel.
Excellent. Let's see. A bunch of folks saying hello to each other.
Win a bagel.
Yeah, and Herb is saying his daughter's in Arizona and she's going through the same thing with the heat. And so all of us in the Southwest right now, we just had one big heat wave go through, and it passed us. Now there's another one that's forming out in the Southwest, right in Arizona right now, that we're getting later this week, I think. So yeah,
we're gonna have fog by tomorrow, which is our natural air conditioner. So in our area, inland 15 miles can remain 105 degrees, but because we're on the Pacific Ocean and we have this inlet, the bay inlet, it creates this fog bank that forms and comes in like air conditioning. So during the day, it'll heat up, get 85, 90 degrees, but at night, the fog comes in and cools it down to 55. And so if you have a good house with good insulation, you just cool it off, close it up, and you're good for the day, usually. Until the heat wave hits and it's day after day, it just sucks.
Definitely. I am just trying to catch up on the chat and looking at conversations going back and forth. Let's see where we go. One of the things that Graphite Guitar says, the problem with boxes is that players learn the shape pattern but never learn to connect it and move between them.
Oh, that's the pentatonic slide up.
Yep.
Right? Just do the boop, 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 halfway up, slide that fourth note up, and repeat.
Yeah,
right? And the next one will have like that little half slide because of that stupid B string. Anyway, I'm just kidding. I like the B string. I actually do enjoy the B string. The G string is the one that'll get you. Try to get that fricker in tune on every kind of get on a like a Jaguar or a Jazz Master bridge can be difficult, even more difficult than a Gibson. Oh God.
Well, there's some other interesting things going on in the chat. First of all, Stephen Maselli says you stole that little mini, and but Ben Kumsa says he's debating starting a new band or project just for fun.
Yes.
And so he's just trying to get some space in the garage
and send riffs back and forth with like the Postal Service. I'm in because I got some riffs, some stuff.
And John ZD351 says good pickups on a cheaper guitar is the best mod. You can always go back to stock before you sell and keep the pickups. Exactly. So he's so true on that. Guitar Man 45 says that's what he wants to do too. He wants to basically get back and playing in front of people. He misses that stage presence, right? It kind of does something to you.
Open mics.
Yeah.
Open mics are the way to go. I mean, you'll find a community of people that are like-minded that are doing it too, and that's where I would go to express.
Well, my understanding is the people come to Guitar Man 45. He's got he's got some room there, and he's surrounded by family all the time, and so he's got a built-in audience, right?
Oh, that's killer!
Yeah, this is great.
Build the stage, right? Build the stage.
Okay. Let's see. And Graphite is giving me some advice, is telling me to start looking at the major and minor triads. It'll teach you chord inversions along with all the intervals.
I would build into that. And then once somebody is like, so if the kid comes up to me and like, check this out, I can play Enter Sandman and I can play all these bar chords and they're kind of ripping a little bit. Then I'm like, all right, well, what can you do with the top three strings? How many chords can you make going up the neck with just the top three strings? And then see if they know those inversions and those, and then then you teach them the double stops, and then they're like, oh wow. And then you should say, look, in a certain part in the song, you don't always want to hear this low chord that we're used to. You want to come up here and invert it and do the same lower chord, but a higher version of it. It's going to make you stand out in the mix. And then I feel you. That's awesome. Good advice.
Our chat is flying and I just can't keep up with it today. I'm seeing things that we've talked about a while back. And like, for example, so Ben is saying, Charles, hit me up anytime for lessons. I am super excited about this. And so, and then so just kind of looking back at when I showed the tools, Monch was saying, the Fiskars makes great stuff, and they do. And so I'm just really kind of looking back at this, and Ben was talking about his fret file was $50.
His fret file?
Fret file.
Yeah. His
fret file was $50.
Oh my God, dude! Don't get me all melancholy about working at the guitar shop. I miss it so much. Number one, I miss my friend Ross Terry, and my other friend Molly. But I mean, working with them, they're such good. They're masters at what they did as far as lutherie, but then working with people that are cool, it's like us just chilling, right? And you're on the other side of them, we're just working. But I miss having all the tools and having to pay.
Oh yeah. And it is that thing when you have the right tool, right? Not just having a tool, but having the right tool. And the more you're doing quality work, having the right tool is like just essential.
Can I? Yeah, as you're looking through the chat, and let me show you because that's a good point. So there's the right way to do stuff, and then you can get by, right? But once you know that the correct tool exists, so I was going to install these Fender. These are the Fender locking, not lock. They're just the good Fender keys.
The standard tuners, yeah.
Onto this Mini, and I know that I can do it, and I know that I can put them down, I can push it in, I can line them up, and I can make it like look perfect and great. But I also have used 15 times the tool that just goes pop, clamp, tap, 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 and you mark it all out perfectly, and it takes you 30 seconds, and it's perfect.
Yeah.
So now I'm just like, I'm just gonna wait until I can just borrow that tool. I'm gonna go up with the headstock thing pulled off and just make it make sense. I don't know, or I just order it. I should just order it. But.
Yeah, I've done that the first play you were talking about, and it takes some time if you want to do it right. Yeah,
you want to line it up and get it right. Tony, actually, speaking of Tony's archive of videos, which is very deep, and if you have a technical question and you're looking for a resource, go there and try it because he actually has a video on how to do it the way without using the semi-expensive tool. Because I think the tool is like about $40, $50. And if you're only doing it a couple times.
Tony has a lot of great videos that way, and so does Ben. Ben has a lot of great, videos on him restringing guitars and doing things in sometimes working when you don't have the right tool, even.
Oh yeah, he gets through it. Yeah. Totally. Yeah, Ben's workbench is kind of, it's reminds me of, it's just an actual representation of working at a workbench, because you see some other Luther channels and everything's so perfect. You're like, holy, and some people are that anal, and I get it, but like it very rarely goes directly to plan. Something's always wrong.
Right. And so a couple things in the chat. Seth is advising you give them 2 business cards so you can spread that word about those customs a little bit easier. And let's see.
That's a good call. I should just go and put them in like rich people's if you had a Ferrari, put it
make it rain with the cards.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I saw yesterday? It was really cool. We were shopping for bullshit for the new house. Some drawer pulls that were little metal. They had a flying V and a flying like a Stratocaster. But the Stratocaster was a terrible representation of a Stratocaster. I had 2 pickups. It was really wonky. I almost got it just for that. But I was thinking for like this handle on my oh, you can't see it, on my bench, I might get one of those. That's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even look at the price. Probably $4 or something.
And so graphite guitars, you're right. I am crazy not have taken them up on the offer to this point, but that is definitely coming soon. Mark's Gas Station has joined us. Hello there. We certainly appreciate you. Christian and want to say is taking lessons every week.
Wow. That's
so that is cool to be able to do that. That is awesome.
Yeah, I just recently shot off a resume over to the School of Rock, because I figured since I could work with little kids on like rocking out. I mean, I already work with kids on my regular job, and I think it'd be kind of fun doing the School of Rock with some kids. So we'll see how that pans out. That might be like take me out of complete poverty.
Mm-hmm. But it's that whole thing. You go learn the things you want to learn because the kind of music that you want to play is a piece of advice I'm seeing in the chat. And but you learn those things you want to play. It's going to push you to push your skills further. So I don't know, maybe it's time that we move on into what are your practice habits, and what are some of the reasons that are keeping you from practicing?
Okay, practice habits are terrible. I need to have a refined, defined thing. I sit down and I play. I usually play every day. Usually play for close to an hour. Sometimes I'll skip a day. But I have songs that I've written and that I have sequenced into a looper box. It's a trio, Digitech Trio looper pedal, and I can go in and play a set of, I've got 12 songs in there recorded. And then I've got a few really good loops that are musical loops that I can shred. And then if I'm feeling something in a new key, I can just set down a loop in the new key and shred that. So that's my practice regimen. It's not that, oh, I do scales. I should say that I do scales a lot. I'll sit down for sometimes in the mornings if I'm off of work, and I'll do a half an hour of, I'll go all the way up the fretboard with major, all the way up the fretboard with minor, all the way up the fretboard with pentatonic. And then I will do all the way up with blues. And then I'm talking all the way, both, all the way. And then I'll pick a mode, and I'll try to go in and do all the notes of that. And then I'll try to play a jam in that mode. But that's like if I'm really into it, right?
Mm-hmm. So I want to say hello to Bent Tom, who's come in, and he says he always tries to have a guitar on hand so that he could just pick it up and play. Always have one on the couch and have a book next to it, and stuff he can work on. And so he's working on country chicken picking right now as well.
Oh, wow.
And and there's a lot to be said. Last year with Martin and Lucas of L&M Guitar Corner, we did this practice challenge, right, where we tried to go. We went something like 21 days. I had read somewhere, in one of the classes we teach at work, if you do something for 3 weeks, that you will build a habit.
Yeah.
And so we said, okay, let's see if this really applies. And so we did this challenge, and we all practiced for 3 weeks, every day without missing, and reported back to each other. So we had that accountability. And I will tell you, my skills grew leaps and bounds in those 3 weeks. And then we all tried to keep it up as best we can. And then I got really busy doing the fabric tops. And it was like, I didn't have that consistency in my practice routine. And once I didn't have that consistency, then I didn't do it as much, because it was easier to say, well, I've got to get this guitar done. I've got to get that done. But what I've done since, I realized that I wasn't playing as much and I wasn't learning as much. And so what I do now is I do keep a guitar in one in the living room. I keep one, several here in the office. And I've made sure that I pick it up at least once a day and play something. And so things that I'm working on to try to do better. I've been working a lot with my left hand. And so especially chord transitions, those ones that you're always having trouble with. It's like, especially when you're speeding up the rhythm of what's going on there. And so I've been working on those things. But I really need to get back to learning new stuff, because I've been working on some of the same old stuff, picking things up. But but there is improvement there. I also want to welcome Blackjack Guitar. Thank you for coming on in. Certainly appreciate you.
I think it's very critical to allocate time and try to adhere to that. And what I'm saying to you, Charles, is a friend, because I know that you get a lot of work in, and that you can get backed up, and that you probably are overworking yourself and should be limiting, like setting your schedule and saying, look, I'm going to work on my fabric tops or my customer's fabric tops. I'm going to do it for this amount of time, because you know that you have a finite, if I've worked more than 6 or 7 hours on one guitar at a time, I need to leave it alone, right? I have my saying up here is breathe deep and walk away. So I'm just saying, allocate the time and give yourself the time to practice and play, because that's what, brings that joy. Although it is joyful, even doing the things that we complain about, right? Zenning and doing all that. It's that there is the zen. You're locked into what you're doing, and
there is a definite peace of mind that comes with having your hands busy.
Yeah.
And so welcome William De Silva. He says, I can't stress enough how important it is to learn the major scale and modes in one key. Once you get that down, it just shifts depending on what key you want to play in. So some good advice there.
And then you can really, with the major scales, you can point out to people how easy it is to play chords everywhere on the neck. Anywhere you start your major scale, you can find your 1, 3, 5, and you can get a chord going. And so as soon as you learn that, you can illuminate someone to playing a chord that they were playing in a song that sounded okay, but it was down in the basic zone, and show them one up the neck that is easy for them to find, easy for them to play. and it like opens up a door. It's like, oh, well, if you know your major scale.
Now, Seth, did you say earlier that you were moving into the new house in 2 weeks?
Yes, by the 15th, I'm like out of my place, and I'll have Wi-Fi. I'll be able to help with watching the chat and read it, and be able to maybe even dual broadcast onto my channel too.
Excellent, excellent. No, because a question's been asked in the chat a couple different times, and I've missed it, so my apologies. I wanted to make sure we got that answered. Okay. So let's see. Yeah. So Rico B wanted to know.
Hey, would anybody want to see like a video tour of the place on Presley California Customs? I just don't want to seem like I'm showing off, because I'm not. Because it's like, anyway, it just seems like
I'd love to get a view of the new workshop area myself.
Yeah, the workshop's going to be cool. The workshop is actually the bedroom that my wife lived in when she was in high school and part of college. I think mainly high school. But it's the above the garage detached bedroom that has a bathroom and everything. It's perfect to set up a workshop. I can't wait. It's going to be amazing. This workshop is killer, and this is more like for a little store. My intention for Sausalitos, people can come here and just play the guitars, and I'll keep a bunch of them here. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man.
Yeah, should be good. Should be good. Bent Tom adds in the chat, the biggest downfall he sees is that newer players is that they just play the same song, the same songs they know every time they pick up the guitar. Like they'll play everything they know. And, we all go through it, and you get in a rut that way, right? Because you don't learn anything new. You just keep playing the same stuff over and over again.
But you are getting the muscle memory. Your transitions will get better and better. You'll get cleaner and cleaner over time. But yeah, if you're not pushing yourself to do anything new, or if there's songs that when I first heard them, I was kind of mad at the person who wrote them, because I was used to playing a bunch of their covers, and I was like, oh geez, thanks Glenn, I'm never gonna figure that out. That's got chords everywhere. And then a year down the road, I figure out, oh, there's a trick to it. He's just doing this, this, and this. And so, like, things that you think are beyond you within a year's time are totally attainable.
Yeah. And I'm kind of really just blown away with all the stuff that's come in the chat, because it's like the advice is really good, right? Ben Tom is saying, like we've heard a couple of times, he suggests that everybody learn the major and minor scales, the triads, and then arpeggios all over the neck. And so that is a consistent theme running through our chat today. So
totally.
So if you're not worried about jamming with other people, maybe you don't need all that. So it's like,
no, but a looper's cool. It gets you better rhythm, better time. Drum machine.
But then he does go on to say, jamming with other people is the most fun. And again, I think you have to kind of take a balance of it, right? Do the hard stuff and do the fun stuff, so you keep going, right? You got to balance those two things off. You keep challenging yourself, but do the fun stuff as well.
Oh, I was 3 chords in distortion for quite a while. And as long as I was having fun, that's all that really mattered. And then over time, especially as with a kid, don't expect them to too much out of them.
So Seth, we're at 12:03, and we've got some great folks here. Hey, Dennis Ellis just came in. How about that? Oh, he's been lurking. Hope everyone's doing. Dennis, welcome. Glad you were here.
Is Laz on today? Because we don't want to step on Laz.
I think Laz is on today, so we'll go ahead and we'll finish up here in a little bit. Krenar, welcome. He's come on in. We appreciate that support. So, but let's leave our folks with maybe some ideas of what we may do next week. Any ideas of what you guys would like to see Seth and I talk about next week?
It's the highly anticipated dance contest. Waiting for my moves. No, probably no one's going to want to see the dance contest. That's actually been a problem on my other channel. My mom unsubscribed again, probably because of the dance contest.
And Janice does say he hasn't, that Laz hasn't posted. He hasn't posted. He is traveling. So.
Oh. If he's not on, we could go at least until my battery dies.
Okay, well, let's do that because I don't see a live show. I just see that he did a stream like 20 hours ago.
This is both left-handed and right-handed coffee cup. Super handy. It's way better than any guitar. Left-handed or right-handed. Easy peasy. No weird upside down Jimi Hendrix stuff on this coffee cup.
There you go. All right, so Martin, I have missed something in the chat here because you said Martin says for me it's getting smoother, like the style of Krenar and Chris Buck, and also not to mess up when playing so often. So I must have missed something. I would love to hear the other part of that. Welcome, Martian Murray.
Maybe he's saying if he's just playing kind of the same old normal stuff, but he's trying to get as good as some shredders, like some people. You know, here's a key that I've followed in life. Surround yourself with people that are better at doing what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And you will absorb and you will advance quicker than someone who is doing the same thing but hasn't surrounded themselves. And you know, I did it to a fault. I did it to where it was really dangerous at times. I was surfing and I would paddle out because, you know, Kelly Slater was out there and all the top guys were. I was going to be out there, and I ended up diving under waves and getting out of the way and almost dying. But through osmosis, you achieve a level of my surfing got great, never got like top notch, but it did give me the confidence that took me into hang gliding. And so like, I wasn't so afraid, right? And I'd been out there, and like fear is a big thing.
I'll tell you, I was fun because I'm reading things in the chat, and Ben Tom is on it today because he's like, join a band when you're the worst player, you'll get better. And it's so true, right?
Or you'll get into a new band because they'll boot you out, right? Yeah, that's always tough.
Oh, it's so funny. Martin says he's trying to convince Krenar to move closer every chance he gets because Krenar is a phenomenal player, and he's so smooth, and he plays a lot of stuff closer to the like a jazz level, right?
Oh wow, yeah.
If you haven't watched Krenar C2 Guitar, check it out because it's definitely there. If you have not checked out an O&M Guitar Corner, check it out. If you have not checked out Ryan at OU812's channel, these are all places you folks need to be going if you haven't been. Unfucking believable. I'm just here for the fact count for the fact calendar. Wait, wrong channel. Thank you for joining us, buddy. Appreciate it. I owe you a package. And I'm sorry, I need to get that out.
Well, yeah, you got to have that allocated time, get that one done, get it out the door.
It's done, and it's been done. I have not been able to get it packed up and out the door.
Oh yeah, that's a thing. The final if I get an order, it's out the next minute because I just want that thing to move on.
Well, normally I am on top of that, and I don't really have an excuse other than how small.
Your brother was in town. That's a pretty good excuse.
Well, yeah, that was last week's excuse. I can't come up with the one for the week before. I wanted to play around with it a little bit more.
Well, that's always a good thing too, right? You want to play them for a while before they go out. So
yeah. But no. So
hey, next week.
Next week, what are we going to talk about?
We can talk about guitars, or are we moving on to? We're going to talk about pickleball from now on. No. Okay. We keep doing a guitar. It seems like Guitar Spire has been kind of successful, so I can agree. But we'll come up with a pretty good subject for. I don't know. I've already upgraded this thing. I should have did a stupid video on upgrading the Squire, but whatever. Sometimes I'm going to do the bone nut. If I had black paint, I'd paint the headstock.
Well, you did take some pictures along the way, so maybe you can put them together into a voiced over video kind of thing.
Yeah. When I set up the new shop, I'll have camera and stuff like set up, good to go. Like click, good. Just turn it on when I'm doing it, so that'll be way better.
So Graphite and Guitars is giving some praise to OU812. And he says, I think that OU1812 is one of the most dedicated channels involving guitar. Ryan simply loves guitar, and it's infectious, and good people there. And it really is. And that's why I said, if you're not watching that channel, you need to be. And he is super great about welcoming everybody into chat, just like Ben is, just like Tony is, and these guys. And I think that's one of the great things. You can tell a good guitar channel when they're doing their streams about how much they're interacting with their audience, and it helps out so much there. All right, so I guess you guys. So there no Ryan. There is no thanks needed there, buddy. It is just complete truth.
Dude, I love coming in here and hanging out, but we got to go.
Yeah, we do.
Point, because I'm supposed to go on a bike ride today with my wife.
Oh, yeah. Can't cut into that family time.
It's good. It's good stuff. We're gonna do this. We're gonna reconnecting in a healthy way.
There you go.
That's because love and tickles.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us today, and thank you for making the chat just fly. I really had a hard time keeping it up with it all, and so appreciate you all being here and all the kind words and all the support, especially after being off for a week. Ben, Tom, so glad you joined us today. That was a big thrill for me to see you in the chat. And Ryan, as always, thank you. Ben, Kush,
Ben, Tony, Ryan,
Guitar Corner,
Rico,
Tony.
Fat Philosopher, who's going to watch this again on repeat because he loves us. Loves it. Remember, y'all.
Ferd, we appreciate you. Ferd's always here for us. Wayne, Monch, unbelievable. Thank you for joining us.
1V, 1
Yes. Go put on a blue shirt. Unbelievable. It is the uniform for today. And so thank you guys all very much. We will see you next week.
Yes.
And we will see you next week, and we will have to figure out what we're going to do. So if you want to sit there and put any ideas into the chat on replay, we will definitely take a look at those and consider them for what we're going to do next week.
Yeah, or email me at SethPresley@gmail. It's not that hard. Or put it when we post hey, we're going to talk. Oh, we already have the topic at that point, huh? When we post it, we're going to have the show thing. That's all right. Charles is in charge. Charles is in charge.
If we're posting notification, there's usually an idea by then.
Usually there's an idea. So that's why I'm not in charge of that. So.
All right, folks, enjoy yourself. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Have a great 4th of July.
Buy a Presley custom.
Yep, and I hope all my Canadian friends enjoyed their Canadian Day.
Yes.
Canada Day.